Welcome back, this is Rocknrollsailor with episode 5 of narration of Tugboat. Hope you enjoy it. Loving people doesn't necessarily mean you can stand them now, does it? The way they seem to be always tearing at the seams, crashing through the bends, scraping the bottom of the socially implied barrels till somewhere the bottom drops out and the vessel breaks. The dead flowers stand desiccating in an algae-skin vase. The bonds no longer hold James. The shared vice and virtue losing its common language, or it's simply finally the time for the veils to drop. And you're seeing each other for the first real time in all your horrific beauty and sickening strength. Sickening because true strength implies full weakness. Your Frankenstein scars glowing with pride over the battles and blessings survived. We're monsters of soliloquy and rage, of power and hope, of despair and laughter. Horrific because beauty is innocent and therefore mercilessly excusable, fragile and frighteningly ignorant, yet devastating in both grandeur and simplicity. Can you stand yourself? I know I can't. Not really. All the time. I must have been a jerk, a bastard, a bitch, a coward, a butcher to the lamb of dreams, a dumbass with clenched fists and no smile to spare, a mean asshole to the kind, and a nice guy to the mean. I'm quite sure I fucked up so bloody often, there's nobody keeping track anymore, not even me, and I must say it's a relief. Oh, praise the goddesses and six-titted angels, yeah. Accept your lousy self, assimilate as many extremes of yourself as you can find, and all that happens is the circle rounds up and you send yourself spinning like a little biped dervish sphere through the world of worlds universal. You see, how can you speak of compassion if you don't understand rage? How would you otherwise recognize and know the way out? How can you share passion if all life is diluted beyond taste or remedy, and a little loud laughter or fiery dancing, a little vision and a tacit whisper in the ear by a playful wind seem overwhelming already? How can I be passionate in a land full of 9-to-5ers that pride in daily work as long as they can stretch a day's work out over a week? An object in motion wants to remain in motion, and a human mind ever more so, morosely so. Even to the brink of extermination and slightly beyond, I'm afraid. Routine, you blinding slave master with arms 1,000, dispensing food, water, wine, whiskey, and piss straight from the bosses, the bartenders, the shamans, the lonely housewife's bladder, while striking at backs and biting at heels, caressing heads and forcing blowjobs, driving humans into dumbfounded oblivion with leaking ears, hearts, and anuses, bloodshot eyes, swollen livers, and dry guts, acid throats, and swollen lids, as the whip slashes the air and the rotting carrot dangles from the stick. routine, you comforting mistress. You fatherly pride. Routine, you card-counting counterfeiter at Ladies Fortuna's table, you calculator of misfortune and the odds of mischief. Routine, you exercise master. You worshipper of statistic irregularity, you teacher, you disemboweler, you regurgitator, you enslaver to the rhythm, you fortifier of skill. O routine, how you reincarnate our silliness and reverberate with song, songs passed on like little lifelines, stretching to the firmament from this terra firma, this windswept bowl of tears, salt and sand, with its millions life forms, mortal all and mostly lethal in some way or another. Yet, most species, unlike the human, usually stick to one method of kill. Often even just one type of prey. A bit like one-track-minded, dysympathetic psychos having a feeding victim of preference, be it emotional, physical, intellectual, or strictly business. Dream time. But what do we dream? Do you take credit for it? Do you dare to be dirty with dreams, soaked in dreams, fed by dreams, captivated by dreams, chased by dreams, overrun and mangled by them? Torn up and reassembled like a mishmash doll, a freak of nature and society alike, a mental discord, physical dissonant, a malfunctioning machine that just lacks a penny for a dream. I love people, but I hate them all the same, and as long as the balance don't tilt towards the latter, I guess I'm doing mighty fine. And hey, don't forget to thank Mr. William Blake for reminding us that one law for the lion and the ox is oppression, and as such allowing others their uniqueness even through simple indifference simply leaves everybody more space to breathe, stretch, and shake a leg, baby. We so often align like magnets. Agree to disagree. Couples with a partner seem such a caricature of opposites. Political parties that squander state fortunes over term-long speeches, labyrinths of words and terminology determining the sentence of their rule over the people. A life sentence to citizenship. Magnets, attention, attraction, disfiguring pull and push, this heveling power, disproportionate amount of time spent feeling, thinking, ignoring, succumbing, fighting, loving, arranging, defeating, drowning out the multi-layered magnetic forces that we beam out and perceive and are. Radiance emitted through our electro friends and this new symbiotic digital species helping us raise awareness and knowledge at frickin' warp speed and accelerating exponentially from a magic lantern to 3D projection in a measly century and a half, from one copper syringe for all to hyper-sanitized single-use insulin shots, riding into the future like we stole it. Full throttle advancements in each and every field of science and development. The global rising awareness, the infant species recognizing itself in the outer space mirror, while a spider web of information channels is humming and vibrating with thrills and chills, quests, questions, and plentyfold questionable answers. Each search and find a parody of certainty, a fallacy of truth. And that's great. It's great because it does away with the dogmatic false rigidity of the one answer, the only interpretation, the very one key. Forget it. Balance yourself with every step and keep moving and find millions of answers, questions, truths, beliefs, versions, subversions, inversions. Ever searching is the mind, so just believe in questioning, interacting, and moving on. The tricky web of the digital Anansi spider god. Weave your web of dreams and catch a wish. Dream time, dream time. Wake up to the dream time. I'm so constantly angry and calm, so sad and happy, so joyful yet full of grief, so horny yet slightly satisfied, so into cooking I forget to eat. So every emotion at the same moment, it feels amusingly passionate to watch myself run my mind through a kaleidoscope of plans, ideas for the future and about the past. Designs that remodel themselves every 6 months, sizzling quietly in the depths of my thinking. I feel like I'm a room full of operators with big switchboards and odd headphones on, listening in on the musicians and the actors, the spies and politicians, the thinkers and the avoid brain work at all cost brigade, the doers and the don't-evers. Till in the distance beyond the crackling and the static I catch it, distinctively, murmuring at first but getting louder and more fine-tuned. The voice of people, the voice of women, men, children, the voice of the species human, unsubdued and self-activating, intelligently instinctive. Sustaining a melody, finding notes to a tune yet unheard as tomorrow, but delivered daily as the human heartbeat drum takes over from the drums of worry and war, thus turning the marching stomping of the feet to a dancing stomp, step, stride, jump and turn, a jazz click, a slick lick, a pas de deux, a dancing line twisting. Spin your heels, you androgynous human beasts. Your stargazing days are over. Welcome to the universal world of the many, many suns. All sperm is white no matter what the color of your cock, so can we just get on with it, please? Thank you, for the love of life's sake. Knowledge creates safe havens for the mind in which you can go elegantly crazy. Hide in. Dive in, divide in, fuse your extremes in. Knowledge to the bone, details to love, answers to find, reasons to be, skeleton keys to open your gridlock, to set your mind free. To do, to doodly do. The word may be mightier than the sword, but both require skill, knowledge, and determination, a balanced mind and body, a steady circulatory flow of emotions, and above all, purpose of survival, cause, greater good beyond the bloodshed and the pierced eardrums, the blown minds and rebuked preconceptions, the death toll of yet another daily revolution of the planet Earth. Yet another fragment in the ever-evolution of a new biped species, as millions of other earthbound creatures share in the costing culture, the mishaps, mistakes, miscalculations, and miserable consequences of our blindsight, short-sight, hindsight, industrious destructivity, and spiteful revenge on this captivating planet for all the nightmares haunting our DNA. Ignorant we no longer need to be of how simplicity is key in reaching a viable future state of dreaming. A livable reality in which natural coexistence, co-creation, collaboration, mental, emotional, physical copulation, meditation, transgression, and mutation engenders a balanced circulation of energies individually as socially as inter and intra-species. Peace is a matter of balance, recognition, and freedom, not of power per se. Only in accepting all pieces of your mind will you ever find peace of mind. Only in accepting does that imply agreeing, condoning, supporting, freeing, empowering all the great and ugly that I hold within and see reflected and played out in the faces and the masks of all that I see. How much can I salvage from the wrecks of blundered beauty and sour sweet crumbs of innocence? How many critters, creeps, and vermin crawl around the basest basement floor of my ivory mind? How many can I salvage from the dungeons of my despair and the rattling change of my loving, hateful rage? How much of myself do I enslave and to what end? How many of you have I tortured? How often have you tortured me? Do we simply appropriate too many energies as being distinctly human, distinctly I or you, not both? Where maybe we but enact in such ways the core energy of a being, say, jealousy, a cracking character that afflicts animals as well as humans. Are we jealous, or do we embody its spirit? In which view it's a creature, a being, a sentient id, and we're a mere solitary cell in its structure, a hair on the brow of fury, an ornament on the crown of capricious negligence, as we mock the well-meaning and the bare-faced, open-visored dreamers. After all, these humors, spirits, moods, symptoms, and synergies have been recordedly around since the dawn of human, like giants, souffleurs, puppeteers, and whimsical stage masters. So it's only fair to say that they outlive our short personal enactments of the play. The charade, the tug and pull, the sweet caress, the feast, the stage predates the actors and the audience. But only for the latter do we turn the lights away from them and onto the declared interest of the moment. Yet, only for the audience do we play? No way. To play is to dream. To dream is to be. Dream your dance awake. Which energies would you like to enact, portray, be a part of, envision, create, procreate, co-create, share, and multiply? Which flowing solutions to the stagnant muck of inertia do you hear in the dancing bloodstream of ideas that is your mind, jumping to the drum heart? Our social conduits congealed with the grease blobs of over-fat paychecks like cholesterol in the vein. In need of fresh conversation, conversion, mediation, meditation, circulation, new nutrients of thought and idea, of emotion, and consequent simple action. Face the dawn as we exhale the past. Choose to breathe fresh air, fresh flair, fresh pretty butts, some perky tits, fresh ballsiness, and shooting twigs of reliable reasoning, fresh muscle, and a lot of different moves. Because the rhythm of the time is very demandingly changing, and I, for one and for all, want to keep dancing. Refresh, 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 like a new night and a breeze in the morning. Refresh your thoughts of who you are and what and how the world and worlds can be. Dare to dream reality and own it. Own up to it. Live up to it, accept fearless happiness, love without remorse for its seclusive character and elusive intricacies, the delicate rudeness of penetrant union. Do you dare dream up a world that's beauty with as without you? Regardless of not wanting to die, do you want to live? Is the drive to survival beyond your conscious mind, or do you savor it? Dream up endless variations for tomorrow's fresh todays. Of course, history is rife with proof of the potential danger of unified dreams and Forcing every head the same way usually comes at the costs of lopping necks after a while. Just like I regularly see people forcing themselves to engage in free sex in order to prove their undogmatized newfangledness, or go binge drinking with a bunch, which I feel is just a fucking pity of the booze, but how to pity a conscious decision's consequent suffering? Well, we all do and don't. I mean, these kids popping pills like there's no tomorrow and then blocking the response to show they can handle it, being cool and normal while the E and CD and speed and whatever sends biochem overload through their skull caves. It's the worst way, babes. It's a nerve-wreck guarantee. Beer for drinking, booze for sipping, and we've been partying around the clock for thousands of years, pumping our biochemical delights at leisure, never at pharmaceutical command. Yet the shaman, the witch, the nurse, the priestess, the nutbag, and the nomad knows the spells and potions, the mushrooms and the molds, the tunes and the visuals, the touch, the essence of relaxing, exultant, expressing, existing. Excavating the true you from under the rubble of overactive days and sleepless nights. In dream time. I walks with you. I got accused of feminism again, so ridiculous. For once and for all, if you think the way to describe a strong woman is to say she's got balls, then bugger off, you sexist cliche enforcer. Strong women have pussy. Pussy power. Simple as that. And please let them be feminine beyond this forced role model shit of either mother, bitch, virgin, or whore. It's fucking boring. There were small facets of the character roles and way too narrow for any one person to cram herself into. Saying women rule the world to me has nothing to do with feminism, it's just stating an obvious fact. Yeah, I know on the surface of things it's all men and macho and provide and conquer crap, but who's right behind the guys like a backbone, a whip, a pleading voice in the head, an urging demand? The women. Who do these prick bearers aim to please, seduce, satisfy? The women. Who rules the hearts, minds, sensations, emotions, passions, hormones, cocks, balls, and arses of these boys, gigolos, kings, slaves, and tyrants? The women. Be it their woman, their wife, sister, mistress, mother, daughter, or favorite companion. Be it the poster girl next door or the pin-up on the wall. The sanctified angel bitch or the shame-free spread-legged porn queen. That transvestite perfect cheeks or the gay lord's pouty lips. Just underneath the surface of this male dominion world lies the reign of the female, like the planet steering the life on its surface from below the crust of organic debris, the deep-sea currents and sweeping winds of song driving the waves for the mariners to challenge. So how about we open up to this and give women the respect and position they're long time due to enjoy, publicly, openly, whether in the bed, kitchen, subway, or boardroom. This futile power struggle to the point of muting, binding, enslaving, raping, suffocating is not only disgusting, sick, depraving, revolting, horrible, and demeaning, it's quite frankly the worst way to try and be a man. And women are so entrenched, scarred, and preposterously groomed to expect and accept this mockery of role play, this disenchanting franchise of mannerisms, this almost proverbial faulty status quo to just roll over and lay down and clean up afterwards. It's absolutely mental to behold how people elude their growth, freedom, happiness, and love. Keep ramming your head into the wall to prove it's there, instead of turning and looking and finding the door and deciding for yourself your life is not a prison cell, but a single-cell organism in a bowl of ore soup. Upon conception, we're all female. Some clits merely grow into cocks for the procreation and the pleasure of the species. Meanwhile, women are bestowed with the single pure pleasure organ, the dancing pearl, the glowing knob, the frisky frothing field switch, the jumping bean, the bouncer to the cave of delight, the lantern over the pleasure slit, the bell to the church door where we pray, prawl and pride for everlasting sanctuary at the banks of the fountain of youth. Leave an offering of saliva, honey, and come and be back at the beckoning call. Fair exchange for the towing of the infants and the pulling of their spouses, the agony of childbirth and the monthly reminder of mortality, the bloodshed of missed opportunity, the convulsive cramps of chastity, or much more so these days, successful contraception. Nothing fair about it. Life's only fair in that it is beautiful. Nothing quid pro quo about it. That would be such a different cup of horse soup now, wouldn't it? First time I remember watching my face fall from my skull, I must have been 5, 6, 7 maybe. Life becomes such a stretch when you have no sleeping pattern to speak of, and nights are spent sitting in your head, gazing out the windows of your eyes, while the body lies near mortified and dull. The fluorescent light of the alarm clock playing timekeep and shadow master as the curtains grow masks. The ceiling becomes a storyboard and the quiet slowly dissolves the tensions of day life. I'd usually pass out briefly around daybreak when the hour blue sends its chill to the bony wind, only to get adrenaline shocked by the buzzer and the forced staccato rhythm of morning routine. Into the bathroom, into the mirror, where I'd watch my face melt off, my skull shining yellow, green, bone gray, and sunset red, staring through my head till all went black and I came back. And just ran the tap and washed a little. Whatever you grow up with, you get used to. Be it edredons or rats scurrying across the newspaper-thin blanket, the maid combing your hair or getting a daily beating, being overfed and encouraged to get fussy, picky, vain, unsatisfiable, or just hope to eat something sometime somewhere today and expect not to get picked or hope not to get picked on, to search in vain, unaware of such a state of being called satisfaction. Whatever you grow up with, you get used to, and is therefore seldom questioned until that time in your life when it becomes up to you to sustain the qualities and circumstance of your survival, and then most simply just perpetuate or worse with a teeny pubescent hiccup or a little hike into the wild wide world along the way. And in such we sustain the past without giving the future a fair chance of uniqueness. Yet we can't tear down the houses of any generation before us or wage war on our ancestors and the worlds they've left us with either. So how detached from upbringing and attached to sustaining, prevailing, and surviving do we as a species need to get in order to overcome the ecosystemic bill that the planet is putting on our plate after the industrial orgy of the past centuries? How far away from our predecessors' mind state do we need to go in order to get a grasp of where we started going off the deep end? Do we keep towing the past or start pushing the future? How long do we extend the ties that bind us to the Roman cart, the Dark Ages flagellating hubris, the decreed inertia, the industrial blindness, the commercial quality decay? How long do we spit in the wind and piss in the wine? How far can too far go on a ball of dreams? in outer space. We talk of going into space as if we're not already there, albeit on a spaceship so large and potentially comfortable you could easily forget it. Just like life can make you forget yourself, your past, your hunger, thirst, fatigue, your manners, your name. Blissful forgetfulness, savior of brains and pacifier of hearts. This too shall pass. In dreams. Keep your feet on the ground and your head in the stars. And dance your dream away. When I went trailing through Europe during the 90s, I had no plan, no reason, no map, nor direction. I just had to close my first sculpting workshop due to all cost, no income, and decided to take a stroll around the backyard. Europe. I just wanted some stories to tell, I guess. See how the clownscapes paint the sky from different angles, diversify the sceneries and landscapes, and etch and sketch some all fresh new impressions on a new me mind, traveling me. Once you step away from your known surroundings, both you and the world become strange and open to discovery, where nobody knows your name. So confrontational, direct and freeing, so desolate, lonesome and indifferent, so enchanting and sobering at once, so healthy too. Dysentery notwithstanding, as I lay in a southern Spain teepee feeling acid fire, purple-green foam squirting its way out of my ass, every cell morbidly cramped. Little mistake in the sewage treatment plant uphill sent raw sewage through the drinking water pipes. The 3-day-long sweet dried opium smile later, I was back on track, dehydrated and shameless. Travel forces one to voyage within as much as around, and even more so, as the strangers pinpoint your strangeness, and the ever-changing landscapes reflect in the window, the mirror, the face staring back, across the track, as I feel the roots quake in the profile shadows like a pack of dogs, the thoughts they run to and from oblivion, and I laugh. I laugh at the demarcation line to boldly go into the void, to dream of greener pastures or finer feelings, and learn to accept uncertainty and wonder as the natural state of consciousness. The instinctive comfort zone is realizing that life is perpetual danger, change, chance, risk, and opportunity. In total contradiction to what we try to create for ourselves and deem comfortable on the surface. We need change. Our metabolism runs on change and exchange. Our biochemistry revolves around processing change rather than same old, same old. Yet people tend to identify with a set series of routines that sort of prove mastery over the everyday ripples of change that cross our paths in each and every way. Question remains, to what cost and to what end? The amount of habits, customs, traditions we appropriate and propagate makes up the structure of our daily lives, as much as holding us back from savoring life in its uniqueness, being in the moment, feeling the storm of now, experiencing the alerting, altering states of being. Millions of people fail to take notice of the growing population and pollution simply over the fact that it didn't interfere with their daily habits. Not until the traffic jams and plastic bottles starting washing up on the beaches. Same time tire and tarmac dust mixed with exhaust fumes started becoming the city's little atmosphere. At which point we started blaming cigarettes for being little chimneys that was quite freaking obvious from the very start. We could have simply moved up from steam engine to a compressed air engine, but guess what? We took a lethal detour via combustion engines. And only now, when the masses are suffocating and smokers get crucified for all and every lung disease, is this natural solution on the table, an air engine that actually filters the air before compressing it and running a simple mechanic that has as many uses as what we now call a conventional engine. Conventional? It's only been around for a blink of history's blurry eye, hardly merits the dogma conventional, would you think? And it's just one stubborn genius to thank for the air-powered engine, a guy called Guy Negret, a French engineer. One man, one life, changing the world by not accepting the status quo, by disproving accepted ways and perceived limitations, by giving his life one day at a time, in a journey of discovery in order to create change. Every day the hopes of people are lifted by individuals chasing dreams. Taking beach walks with a litter bag in hand, picking trash instead of seashells. Taking one aspect of their everyday environment and tracking, tracing, unearthing, discovering a simple, bio-friendly, naturally logic, self-sustainable alternative. Creating change. To counteract the consequential change for the worse of all those that cocoon in comfortably questionless perpetuations of the norm, the normal, the status quo, the Dixit Omnia. How long before the balance tilts, the pendulum swings, the noose becomes a rope ladder to a brighter dawn? How long before we snap to it and it becomes more normal to crowdfund inventions and cooperate urban farms than to gamble millions on the arbitrary outcome of a game of fucking soccer or a bout of bloody boxing? How fucking miserably long before we check the habit of holding our bladder and squeezing our butts through numbing school days and endless business meetings and link it to prostate cancer, colon cancer, hemorrhoids, and adults needing diapers by age 50? How excruciatingly long before we wake the fuck up and wake everybody up? Start tugging and towing at the barges of trash and the piles of possibilities, till we change our organizational structures and revolutionize without combat and destruction? How long before we quit this nightmare in paradise? Are you all right? Exercising your rights? Feel right about yourself? Dexterous and rightful? After all, who wants to be left alone, left out, left to your devices, left out in the cold, sinister? Well, hell, hey, you're born alone and die alone, so dare to be alone, all one and all, 'cause things aren't all right, and fortunately never will be. Take it left, right, and center. I mean, these left-wing, right-wing tra-la-las, these extreme right politics. In a world where everybody's so freaking focused on being right, doing the right thing, standing up for their rights, it's so biased and inherently contradictive. I mean, ambidextrous, come on. I'll work with both hands, lefty, righty. Time we accept we're equally sinister as Dexter. High time we went for total being, full circle awareness, rounded vision, encompassing all aspects of our actions, purpose, and strive. For fuck's sakes, you would think that after millions got murdered in the fight of the raised right arm, saluting the demon of Roman Germanic folly, commonly known as World War II, people would get to grips with this right state of mind nonsense. But no, we continue to divide in left-wing, right-wing socio-political bullshit and still sacrifice our worlds on the altars of bloody narrow-minded self-righteousness in an ominous mass. Ever seen a plane lose a wing in full flight? It just spirals down, plummeting to destruction. I remember picking up a wounded little bird with a bruised wing, helplessly flapping around on the waterfront. So I picked it up gently and cupped it in my hand. Yet with the first gust of wind, the little stubborn dumbass tried to take off, failing miserably, fluttering to a death by drowning. In numbers, we drown daily pretty much the same way. I still see its uncomprehending tiny eyes gazing at me as the bird's spirit succumbed to the powerful whirl of the river. Never a good feeling when your honest help is refuted, your advice denied, leaving you hoping to be wrong, yet time so often disproves those that seek advice only to ignore it, and shows you to be sadly correct in your precognition, your warning, your road sign to a brighter day and a peacey night. You say ignorance is bliss, but that's just such a poison kiss. And guilt is never the issue. It's so stagnant and stigmatizing, so lacking in multidimensional multiplayer thinking, so utterly fecal focused, so bloody anal. Guilt is the bleeding hemorrhoid of frustrated shallow dreaming. Guilt is never the issue, but a blindfold to the logic of eventualities and organic order through chaos. We so overvalue the belief structures and need for restrictive punitive law, while underestimating the true soul power of the free, unbound, unfettered, genius individual human being. So topsy-turvy to assume our basest condition to be so beastly, amoral, destructive, that we need salvation through chastising, flagellation, and penance, where in my experience it's precisely this captivating, binding, demoralizing, freezing dehumanization by dogma and deadweight law that leads to gross lack of empathy, sympathy, and consideration, thereby unhanding people their self-awareness, their consciousness of consequence, and ultimately their proper responsibility. The one feeling that is consistently entwined with the amount of personal freedom to feel, think, act, and react. Responsibility. Being able to face the constant flow of life that we incorporate and alter. We are the quanta, the atoms, the nanominds, the cells of our species. Yet we dare not yet to cast off this cultural procrastinating rigidity of mind. People succumbing to anger, fear, and perversion through the hypocrisy of our inbred rutinous slagging off of the soul. Our evils are responsive actions, reactions to perceived perpetrations. We adhere to self-diminishing social restraints that force our energies to congeal, congest, confound, and collide till the outcome of our lives is something we never meant to create, sacrificing our natural neutrality for misperceived and ill-conceived greater goods, gods, and painful pleasures, laws we seemingly cannot alter, ulterior motives to no true benefit. Chess is war, dice are fate and fortune, while accepting possible mishap. We compete with others while the fight is always with ourselves. Until you learn to be at peace within, you won't find peace in the world around. Which leads me to that dire, frustrating, mutilating fixation on perfection. The unblemished idol. The hurtful negation of the fact that in all we do and all we are, there's constant flow and changed unfinishedness. The French parfait, par avoir fait, by having done. Only when it's done can you see the result of your actions, and as such it's a perfect rendering of your abilities and flaws within the limitations of the place and time, the matter of your creation and consequence of your destruction. Never a full stop, but a fragment of your essential being. Accept your ugliness without scarring the world with demon fangs and vampire bites. Accept your power of choice beyond dictated measures and measurements. Dare to be beautiful without mirrors. Reflections, or narcissistic drowning waters and marathon selfie sessions. Dare yourself to outdo your known self. Dare go beyond. Boldly go where no human has gone before, to the center of your universe, the core of existence, constant change, ever evolution. Dream on beyond you, beyond your wildest imagination. Breed and dream big and act small, and be relentlessly aware. Wake up to the dream time. Through fear we create nightmares, through empathy we create fellowship, through love we recognize, through hope we procreate and aspire. Spirals can lead up as well as down, and the staircase of desire leads both ways. Our spiral DNA remorselessly takes us up and down. Showing us our lack of control is merely pruning the mind from sprouts of hubris, Dream big, act small. Screw reality until it gives you an offspring of endless diversity gathered round the table of your mind. Let your skull be a party dome filled with sparkling thoughts and feelings flowing like the wine of life everlasting. Keep your feet on the ground and your head in the stars and dance your dream away. I so hope we can make it. I dream of freshening change at a quickening pace. Painless transition to sobriety is the drunk's desire. So spare us from delirium as we recover from the hangover of industry. Our species' veins burning with chemicals and pharmaceutical toxic waste. Let us flush out the poisons and drink afresh from the golden cup of future change. Let us simply forget to enforce the stupidity of consumerism and militarism. Let us be as we are for real, singing dreamers on an ever-evolving spinning space ball, traveling through the dark and the unknown. Steal the fire, but don't burn the house down. We need shelter.